Parents are posting negative reviews for Turning Red because the movie deals with puberty and the story's overall allegorical take on a young girl going through hormonal changes. Yeah, believe it or not. Now, the Rotten Tomato audience score at the time of this video is sitting at around 70%, and you got such reviews that read like, Disney has long held an established trust by parents in this country that anything that had the Disney label parents just knew about vetting they could trust to be safe for their children, but Disney has finally now officially violated that trust once and for all by publishing this smut. Man, that punctuation does not even exist. I had to put it in there. Now, that was a weirdly worded and punctuated review, but publishing smut? Like, is this your first Disney animated movie, for crying out loud? Like, I'm sorry, but have you seen that scene from Aladdin where the 16-year-old Jasmine seduces old man Jafar? Need I remind you of that? What? Or how about Ariel from The Little Mermaid? This girl gave up her entire family plus her freaking voice to get with some landlubber named Eric. I think he was a prince. Now, she too was 16, with Prince Eric being 18, but that Little Mermaid was just as boy crazy for Prince Eric as the girls in Turning Red were for Four Town. I might even argue more so. I mean, she gave up a ton of things, her voice. And yet you have parents dropping reviews like, 13 and obsessed with boys may be common, but it's not an ideal I want for my girls. She doesn't learn that it's a waste of time to sexually fantasize about older boys, but instead, mom learns to respect my panda, my choice. Seriously, what? No, seriously, what to you, parental? I think you're taking issue with something that was meant to shed light on a common trope many girls that grew up in the 2000s experience. Not even just in the 2000s. Like, boy bands were a thing and they still are. The director of the movie Turning Red has stated in interviews how the things in Turning Red are kind of based on her experiences growing up and how much of a hormonal mess she felt she was, arguing with her mother almost on a daily basis. She looked at this movie, this very movie, Turning Red, as a chance to go back and understand what made her tick as a developing kid. And both the director and Pixar wanted Turning Red to be unapologetic about puberty and periods, using the transformation into a giant red panda as a metaphor for the other big red young girls experience in their lives. You know, Disney has shown kids far worse, and I mean far worse, than the horrors of puberty. Ooh, scary stuff, parents, isn't it? You know, they've shown us a drunken baby elephant, a couple of princes kissing women while they were sleeping without consent, mind you, a very heart-wrenching scene of a woman suffering a miscarriage, toys filled with life, inching ever so closer to death in a fiery pit, family betrayal where a child witnesses his uncle kill his father, and a man who violently, accidentally hangs himself. Now, I remember seeing that scene in Tarzan as a child, and I was in utter shock at what I just witnessed at such a young age. Disney is no stranger to taking on certain mature subject matter and framing it in a way that somewhat fits within a certain contextual standard for what they're trying to convey in the movie. Essentially, we have to remember, we really have to remember this, okay? There are adults making these movies. Adults who were once kids are behind these movies and having their vision underneath the Disney brand. You know, I'm sure they realize, and they have to realize, that they need to be very tasteful with how they approach mature content and mature themes in their kid movies. They have to be very cautious with how they approach it. Now, in my opinion, I thought Turning Red dealt with it and handled it in quite a brilliant way. Puberty, that is. It was a smart take on what girls go through when they reach puberty, and while I can't identify with what girls have gone through, I was a boy who went through puberty and what us boys go through when we reach puberty, all right? It's definitely different, but there's similarities there. And taking it outside of, that mature theme, this movie, taking it outside of that mature theme, it was just a really smart take on it all, in my opinion, but this parent thought otherwise. First off, it was just a dumb movie that even had my 4 kids scratching their heads. I know lots of people are upset that the kids are rebelling and disobedient, but how about just make an entertaining movie first and foremost? They did, all right? They did. What, were we not watching the same movie? Let's continue. I think that this is easily the worst Pixar movie they have made, and I will never watch it again. And since I am not the target demographic, all 4 of my kids, ages 6 through 15, also said they are not interested in ever watching it again. I find it funny how this parental called it a dumb movie that left them scratching their heads, left them and their 4 kids scratching their heads. You know, usually you scratch your head, you know, out of confusion. You just start scratching your head out of confusion. So maybe the concepts and tropes went over your heads. So who's the dumb one here, you dum-dums? I don't know, I'm just saying. I just think these parents, you know, giving negative reviews to Turning Red over some maxi pads are really just tripping on something that's not that big of an issue to see in an animated film, or at least it shouldn't be. This is something that's gonna happen to your young girls at some point in time. Let me give you another example from another Disney film, Lilo. From Lilo and Stitch, being taken away by Child Protective Services was pretty jarring to my kid mind when I was a kid. When I first saw it, I was so confused as to why, you know, a Men in Black dude was taking her away. But again, you know, Disney and Pixar have tended to frame the few mature moments in their children-friendly content as thoughtful as they possibly can. But using our adult brains to interpret these situations, we can still see how some of those moments can be pretty screwed up when you think about it. So I'm not going to say that I don't understand where these parents are coming from. Maybe they just don't want their children learning about puberty in such a manner. And also maybe they went into this movie not knowing the underlying context, which is understandable. But it's not as if it was done in a very careless manner. It was done with thoughtfulness and tastefulness in a way that I don't think any of them were trying to offend in any sense of the word. I mean, think about the other movies Disney has made. You know, I mean, seriously, a drunk-ass elephant baby, that scene from Tarzan that I mentioned, and damn, that one scene from Up. Sheesh. Like, I know there's many more scenes from Disney animated movies, but you know, those are the ones that really come to my mind right now. If you know of any other mature moments that have been depicted in Pixar Disney films, let me know in the comments down below. Like, I want to know from y'all though, are these parent reviews of Turning Red blowing things out of proportion, or do they have a point? I want to know your thoughts on this, and like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I do these types of videos all the time and I want to do more of them, but I need y'all to keep rocking with me. Peace.